Okay, so we were actually struggling to record the session, so the internet wasn't working. Fine, so let's start off with this. What are the differences between basic Excel and advanced Excel? So what I'll do is I'll ask you a few questions about what is the features of Excel or formulas of Excel, and then you can tell me whether it is a basic feature or advanced feature. Is it okay? Right? So let's go with this. Basic is here and advanced is here. Okay, you tell me, opening Excel file, is it basic or advanced? Basic, okay, you all great, okay, correct answer. Saving Excel file, okay. Printing, okay. Closing Excel file, yeah. Closing Excel file, okay. Writing a sum formula, SUM. Writing summit formula with a condition. Yeah, few of you are saying it is basic and few of you are saying advanced. I understand why it falls on both the sides. Okay. VLOOKUP. Okay, how many of you think it is basic? Raise your hands. VLOOKUP. Yeah, that's okay. It's up to you. Yeah, VLOOKUP is it a basic formula? Yes? Basic? Okay, perfect. How many of you think it is advanced? Okay, good. Others, what do you think? Because you neither raise your hand for basic or advanced. Do you have any other option there? Intermediate, huh? Do you want me to insert one more column there as intermediate function? Okay, no problem. XLOOKUP. Raise your hand if you think it is basic. Basic. Only one, okay. Rest all are saying advanced. So I'll put it here. XLOOKUP. Writing VBA macros. Do you know what is a macro? Yeah, it's all about automating work, right? Okay. So VBA macros are advanced. Okay. Sort function. There is an array function. I'm not asking about sorting the data. There is a function available from 2021 Excel that you can write equal to sort and sorting the data. What do you think about this? It's advanced, okay. Um, there is a function called index and match. This works better and faster than VLOOKUP. What do you think? Index and match. Zoom. Okay. Index and match is it basic or advanced? Advanced? Okay. Let me write index and match here. Okay. Finally, how to filter the data? Applying a filter, Control Shift L or Alt DFF. Basic? Okay, perfect then. So this is basic. All right, then I think by now you should have some idea what is basic and what is advanced. You understood the differences between basic and advanced, or you still have questions? No, not so clear. Okay, tell me what is this pivot table? Is it a basic feature or advanced one? Basic. Everyone says basic. It is. Anyone wants to say advanced pivot tables? Oh, no one says it is an advanced feature. Okay, fine. Then let me put the pivot table here. I think by now you got some idea what is the difference between basic and advanced. No. Okay. Anyone figured out the difference between basic and advanced? Not so clear. Okay, cool. Let me tell you what is basic and what is advanced. The difference between these two. You know the difference between these two? Any idea? No? Is you. Is you. Now you look at the things that you said basic on the left hand side. You know them. You know how to use them. You know those functions. You know those features. That's why you said it is basic. Someone who knows VLOOKUP, if today we have an XLOOKUP formula, after listening to that XLOOKUP formula just in 5 minutes, you would say it is a basic one. So what is advanced, what is basic? If you know it, it is basic. If you don't know it, it is advanced. You know why Summit formula, a few of you said it is basic and a few of you said it is advanced? Because the ones who said it is basic, you know that, how the Summit formula works. And few of you don't know how it works, so that's the reason you simply said it is advanced. Someone who knows some if formula can also do average if, right? Other formulas, count if and all that, right? It's just that if you know it, it's basic. If you don't know it, it is advanced. Now you tell me today what is that you want to learn. I'll give you options. Huh? Option A, basic Excel. Option B, advanced Excel. Option C, Excel. Option D, my favorite, none of the above. Option C, perfect. Let's stick to Excel. There is no basic, there is no advanced. If you know it, it is basic. If you don't know it, it is advanced. It's as simple as that. But today, we're going to deal with a few of the complex features of Excel. But once you learn them, even those features of Excel look very, very basic. But for that, you need to pay attention. If you have any doubt, please feel free to raise your hand. I'll stop, ask the questions, I'll answer, and then we'll proceed. Okay? If you get any kind of a doubt, raise your hand. Is that okay? But do not disturb your friend. Your friend is also learning here, right? So let your friend, do their work. And if you have any doubts, you raise your hand. I'll answer your questions. Is that clear? Yeah. Mobiles in silent? Yes. Right. Maybe after the break, we may move to the classroom. Maybe if it is not going good here, then we'll move to a classroom, and then I think internet is working. There. Fine then. So let's get started. For this, I have one material package. Um, do you all have a group, a WhatsApp group? Right? If I share with any one of you, can I share it with Sarah? Right? Yes. I'll share that material now, and you all just download that material and just whatever I'm showing on the screen, you also practice along. Okay. Right. Before we start off the session, do you have any expectations from this session? Please feel free to say that. Any expectations? Okay, while that downloading process is going on, just take a look at the screen. I would like to tell you the data types in Excel. Okay. Um, in Excel, there are only 5 data types. Okay. So we work with text, numbers, date time, logicals, and formula errors. Just 5 data types. If you are good with these 5 data types, We can do anything and everything in Excel, right? Do you know what is text? Yes. What is text? A few examples, please. A few examples of the text content, please. Your name. Your name is text, right? Okay. Location names, address, college names, right? Department names. All these things are text contents. Any alpha or alphanumeric data is text. And in Excel, any alpha or alphanumeric data, if you type, let me type here, NMIMS. You see the alignment of the content, it's on the left hand side. Understand, in Excel cells, if any content comes to the left hand side, is text. By default, I'm talking about. If I am pushing it to the center, I can do that. I can even push it to the right hand side. But if you remove the alignment, if the content goes to the left hand side, is what? Text. Remember, it's very, very easy to identify the text in Excel sheets. If any content is on the left hand side, is what? Text. Okay, the default alignment. And coming to the number, a number always goes to the right hand side. You see that? This 500 is on the right hand side if you do not apply any alignment. If you push it to the left hand side, of course, it comes to the left hand side. But if you remove it, it goes to right hand side, right? And a date also always comes to the right hand side only. Let me take today's date. What is today's date? 1st September 2024, right? Is it a date? Why? Because it is on the right hand side. But I have a question here. Is it 1st September or January 9th? 1st September, right? Okay. But you know what? It is January 9th. It is not 1st of September. Why, I'll tell you. If you look at my system, date format, you see this? My system is using MMDDYY format. This is month first, and this is day, and the last one is year. Right. My system is using MMDDYY format. It's not using DDMMYY. I want you to check your system also. Is it showing 9-1 today or 1-9? How many of you are finding your data as 9-1? Raise your hands. 9-1. I'll tell you the reason. In the control panel, your system regional settings are set to English United States. That's the reason you are seeing the date as 9-1 today. In Excel also, if you want to input the date, today's date, you need to type 9-1, not 1-9. If you type 1-9, it will be treated as January 9th. All of you, I know, usually get placed with MNCs from US, and all their computers are set to MMDDYY. Most of the working professionals also, they do this mistake. Without looking into the system date format, they simply input the date in the Indian date format. You know what will happen? If I input today's date as 1-9-2024, you know what is the date I entered in my system? January 9th. You need to be really careful with the date formats. We see two types of dates. One thing is MMDDYY, the other one is DDMMYY. We all are very much habituated to DDMMYY, but you need to look at the system date format before entering any date. Is that clear? So how many of you see it as DDMMYY? Raise your hands, please. DDMMYY. Great. So you all can follow the Indian date format DDMMYY. Others, if you have MMDDYY format, you need to follow the same format. But what if you don't like it? You want to follow DDMMYY only? Then you need to go to control panel. Okay, go to control panel. There is something called region, and there you have English, United States. Change that to India, English India. Okay, just change that to English India, and then you will get DDMMYY format. You see this? This is the format you will get. Is that okay? Right. If you want to change it. Otherwise, you can leave it as MMDDYY also. But make sure whenever you want to input a date, make sure you input in MMDDYY only. I'm stressing this for multiple times. There is a reason. Going forward, whenever you see any date in my system, you need to read it as MMDDYY because my system is following MMDDYY. Is that clear? Right? Perfect. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, tell me what is the date? If I want to input in my system today's date, how do I need to type it? Exactly, 9/1/2024. Something like this. Okay, just a second. All right. The next two data types are logicals and formula errors. They go to center by default. Okay, numbers and dates they go to right. Logicals and errors they go to center. If I type false, you see that goes to center. If I type true, that also goes to the center. Understand that if any content, true or false, right? If you see in the system, do not treat it as English text. They are not English text words. They are logical outputs. Today we'll use nested functions and if functions. There I'll show you how you can use this true or false. Okay. And then finally, error. If you do any calculation error, something like this, 1 divided by 0 is a division by 0 error. Even the errors also go to center. Text, default alignment, left. Numbers and dates, right. Logicals and errors, center. Perfect. Identify the data type of this content. Text. Okay, how do you know? Left aligned. It's as simple as see. Understanding the data types will help you to create the pivot tables, writing the formulas, conditional formatting, data validation. All those things can be done using these 5 data types only. Okay, is that clear so far? Yes, 5 data types. Okay, and tell me what is this date? Is it 8 January or 1st August? 1st August? Perfect. Why? Because in my system, as I'm using MMDDYY and whatever the date that you see in my computer, you need to read it as MMDDYYYY. Is that clear? Perfect. Great then. Let's do a quick knowledge check before we proceed to the next sheet. Who wants to answer the first question? I'll keep it simple. From the same topic, whatever the thing just we discussed. No one? Okay, cool then. Great. What is the default alignment of a number? Right side. Perfect. Pick anyone from this group. Anyone. Surya. Suryansh. Okay. What is the default alignment of an error? Perfect. Center. And there is another property also for an error. Every error starts with a hashtag. That's another thing, easily you can identify. Perfect. You can pick the next one. Pick the next one. You tell the name. Harshit. Okay. All right. What are the two things that we need to keep in mind typing a date? Or what are the two date formats we have? Day, month and year, 4 years. Yeah. And then month, day, and then year. Correct. We have ED, YYYY format or YYYY format. So that's how can we check that? The system, yeah, date format. In the control panel also we can check that. Perfect. Okay. Pick the next one. Anyone? All right. Okay. So how many data types are there? Okay, and their default alignments. Five data types. Perfect. Yeah. Text. Text. Yeah. On to the left side. Yes. Data numbers on to the right. Okay. What are they? Errors and no formula errors and logicals. They go to center. Perfect. See, numbers, anyways, numbers only. Date and times also numbers. So I always, have this. I used to have this question. Okay, what is a number? What is a number? What is the number? Numerical value. Okay, you all have your student IDs. Are the numbers? But I would say no. IDs are not numbers. But you find the numericals only there, right? But why don't we consider them as numbers? Is because what is a number? Anything allows you to do the calculation is a number. Student IDs, can you do the calculations? Let's say your student ID plus your friend's student ID. Can we do the addition between them? No, right? Yes or no? Aadhaar card number, is it Aadhaar number, is it a number or not? No, Aadhaar number is not a number. It's a text format number. Your student ID is a text format number. You get the point? Why? Because why Aadhaar number is a text format number is because you can't do the calculations with the Aadhaar number. Yes or no? Your Aadhaar number divided by your brother's Aadhaar number. Does it make sense? Understand that there are a few numbers in this world, though we call them numbers, we can't do the calculations with them. You understood? Right? So any other numbers that are like numbers, but you can't do the calculations, any examples of other numbers? Mobile number, perfect. Mobile number is a text format number. Any other? Currency sequence, serial numbers, yeah, pin codes, perfect. Using the pin codes, we don't do the calculations, right? Okay, great. One more, card, license numbers, vehicle numbers. They have the alphanumerical data. Alphanumerical data is considered as text only, so it is not a number. Okay, bank account number, yes please. Your age is a number. Age can be calculated. Yeah. See, if someone asks what's your age, you say like 21, okay? But we don't say 21. Yes? See, understand it's a very simple difference between the text format and numbers and numbers. When someone asks your mobile number, what is the way you say it? Any one of your mobile number, please. Just one number, please. Any random number. Go on. 8295065 488. Okay. I get a question here. Why not this? When I asked your mobile number, you said 8295065 488, right? But I would ask you, why not 829 crore 50 lakh 65,488? Even if you say that, I would type the same number, right? Why did you say that 82 something? There is a reason. Because mobile numbers, they don't hold any value. It is not actually a number and you cannot do the calculations with this number. All these types of numbers are called text formatted numbers. You understand? In this world, there are two types of numbers: actual numbers and text formatted numbers. The numbers that are useful for the calculations are the numbers. The numbers that are not useful for the calculations, they are text formatted numbers. There are so many examples of text formatted numbers, right? Mobile number, bank account number, credit card number, debit card number, PIN code, Aadhaar number. All of them are text formatted numbers only. We can't do the calculations with them, right? Today in our data analysis, I'll once again talk about these types of numbers because these numbers can only be used for counting, but you cannot do the sum or the average. Can you take the average of Aadhaar cards, Aadhaar numbers? But can you take the count of Aadhaar numbers? Yes, it tells us like how many people got Aadhaar numbers, right? Perfect. Now you understand that there are two types of numbers, and I'll once again talk about this in the data analysis. And they will work with customer numbers, product numbers, and all. You can't do any arithmetic calculations on them. Understand there are two types of numbers. Is it okay? One more example of any text formatted number, please. What is it? ATM pin. Yes, ATM pin. Pin is there 1 2 3 4. We don't say it like 1234, right? We prefer it 1 2 3 4. Yes. Okay. Now you understand, right? What is a text formatted number and what is an actual number? Okay. Salary. Salary, is it a number? Yes. Can we do the calculations? Right. Okay. PF amount, provident fund, insurance amount. Yes. What are the other numbers? Numbers. Something that can be useful for the calculations. Numbers, please. Gratuity. Okay. Fine then. Yeah. Bank balance. Perfect. Yeah. That's a number. Marks. Excellent. Yes. They are numbers. What's that? Weight. Yes. Count. Count. Yeah. Kind of number only. Okay. Agree. Height. Yeah. Perfect. So there are so many numbers also, which can be useful for the calculations in the business data today. We'll see, a good number of numbers and as well as text format numbers. We'll see both of them. Okay. Okay. Let me tell you one more thing. Numbers, are they very powerful? Yes. Numbers, are they powerful? Okay. What is a very powerful number in your life? And balance. Age. Okay. Marks. Fees. Zero. After as a non-zero number. Okay. Good. Good. CTC. Okay. So let me tell you one thing. Numbers not only for the business, numbers as an individual also they matter a lot. Okay. If you ask me what is a very powerful number, it's our date of birth. Dates are the numbers. Dates are the numbers. Okay, what is a number? Anything that allows you to do the calculation, right? Using the dates, can you do the calculations? Yes or no? Let's say there is a project starting on 1st of September and you got 10 days time. By when you need to submit the project? Then you're just adding the number of days. So additions and subtractions are possible with the dates also. A very powerful number in our life is our date of birth. Yeah. After that, the chase of numbers has begun actually. In schools, after a few years, we all joined schools, right? So what is that you used to chase in the schools? What kind of numbers? Marks. Marks are numbers. As a result of marks, we used to worry about one more number. What is that number? Rank. What is my rank and where do I stand? Right after completing the schooling and graduation, let's say we all got a job and we joined the job. Now we are worried about one more number. Salary is a number. We work there for 1 year and now we are worried about one more number. Increment, how much am I going to get there, right? In this chase of numbers, we are forgetting about one more very important number. Age, we are getting older. One fine day we all die. Date of death is also a number. If you do a subtraction, the number of days it will give, right? So understand, numbers are everywhere, numbers are very powerful. And I'm going to show you some data here with a combination of numbers and text content. And I think you all can easily identify which one is a number and which one is text here, right? Tell me column E, basic salary. What is it? Is it a number or is it text? How do you know? Simple, you see that? Number. Okay, DOJ, date of joining. It's also a number. How do you know? Write the line, right? And tell me what is there in D2 cell? D2. Date of joining, D2 is there, right? Which day is it? Which date is it? It is May 22nd. Perfect. Okay, so I would like to show you as a first step how to work with the tables. Then I'll take you to the pivot tables, and then I'll take you to the power pivot tables, and I'll show you what is a power query. So many things in the pipeline. Okay. This is a normal range. I call this as a normal range in Excel. We all have some idea, right? In Excel spreadsheet, how we input the data and all. Yes. If you want to calculate the net salary, what is it you do there? What is it you do? Net salary calculation. Equal to right. E2 plus F2 minus G2. Perfect. You see this? This calculation is using E2, F2, G2 cells, right? If I drag it down, you know this very well. What will happen there? Right. You can use this fill handle. Just do a double click there or drag it down. You will get all the net salaries there. How many of you don't know this process? Raise your hand. I'm just trying to understand your skill with Excel. If you don't know this process, raise your hand. We are all good? Perfect. So that means you know this. But now I'm going to show you a feature called table. This is a normal range. Normal range. What is a normal range? A normal range is something like, that has a reference from A1 to, you see this here, A1 to H18. That is a normal range. And you know the range addresses, right? You know the selections and the range address, and the range address is A1 to H18. But I would like to show you a range called table range. And please pay attention to create these tables, because in all our rest of the examples, I'm going to work with the tables only. I'll be asking you questions again and again. What is a table and what is not a table? So please try to understand this concept. All of you in this sheet, table sheet? Yes? Perfect. Just go to this range starting from P1 to V18. P1 to V18 in the tables. Yes? Okay, just keep the cursor. No need to select also. Just keep the cursor. All of you just hit a shortcut, Control T, T for table, Control T. A small window will pop up like this, asking, this is the table range and my table has headers. All of you got this? Anyone struggling to get this? Raise your hand if you're not getting it. Control T when you do, T for table. Keep the cursor on the table. You don't need to select also. Just keep the cursor on the table and hit Control T. Yes? Perfect. Hit enter or say OK or click on OK. Okay. Now raise your hands if you got a table like this. Raise your hand if you're done. Perfect. Great. Thank you. This is a table. But how to say something is a table? Yes, please. Okay. So MacBooks command T. Yeah. If it is MacBook, the shortcut T remains same, but instead of control, you need to use a CMD button. Command. Or otherwise, okay, I'll show you that option how where it exists. Okay. In the home tab, there is an option called format as table. In the home tab itself, I think in Mac Office also, you have in the home tab format as table option is there. So you can use any of those colors, any of the tables format you can take. Okay. How many of you couldn't get this output? Please raise your hand. I'll repeat this point if you couldn't get it. Okay. So Windows or Mac? Windows. Okay. Go to the data which is there in the table sheet. Yes. Go to that P1 to B18 range. Just keep the cursor there in the tables. P1 to V18. Yes. In the tables sheet. Then hit a Control T. Yes, you got it. Okay. Anyone still struggling to get this output? See, this is very much important for us to proceed to the Power Query and Power Pivots. Tables we all need to understand. Without the tables, you cannot create the Power Pivots. You need to understand that tables are needed to perform, different types of Power Query and Power Pivot actions. Okay. All right. So once you have a table, How do you know that it's a table? Very simple. I'll show you one easy option to identify something is a table or not. If it is a table, do not go with the colors or filters. Always look at the table design, which is a contextual tab. Here we have table design. All of you see that? If the cursor is on the table design tab should come there in the ribbon. If you can see it, yes, you are working with a table. So how to differentiate a normal range and a table range? Very simple. If I keep the cursor on this range, this is a normal range. Do we see the table design there? No, it's not there. So that means it's not a table, it's a normal range. Is it okay? Now how to create a table we all know, right? What is the shortcut to create a table? Control T. Okay, I would like to show you one interesting thing about a table, okay? You observe this here. All of you keep the cursor on the table. Yes. You just slightly, scroll down. Use the, mouse and just move it. Don't move the cursor away from the table, outside the table. Keep the cursor on the table and just scroll up, down. You see that PQRS? Now they turned into the column headers. Observe? Yes? Right. This is an advantage with the table. If you just scroll up, down, you see that there, like this. Make sure you keep the cursor on the table. That selection should be on the table. Then your table headers will move to the column headers. This is the advantage, okay? Especially when you want to input the data. This is a great feature. You don't need to freeze the top row. Is it okay? Fine then. Do you know how to create a table? Do you know how to identify something as a table? Okay, perfect. Who was the last person answered the question in the last round? Oh, you are done, right? Now you can pick the next one. Anyone from this group? Okay. Tell me, how do we identify something is a table or a normal range? You want to pass it on to someone? I think it's not on. Is it on? Correct. If you keep the cursor on the table, you will see the table design option. On the normal ranges, you don't see any table design option. Let's do one thing. If anyone fails to answer, there should be some punishment, is what I'm thinking. And let's keep it simple, okay? Simple punishment. I don't want it to be like a very boring, monotonous one-way session. I want it to be little interactive and interesting and entertaining too. So whosoever fails to answer from now onwards, they'll have to come here, dance for at least 1 minute. Yeah, let's do that. Either you will, let's do this. Let's do this. Uh, Either you will become a master in Excel or you will become a dance master. Either of the one will happen by the end of the session. Okay, let's do that. Next time onwards, you need to be really careful. You cannot simply skip the question. If you are, skipping the question, make sure that you choose a nice song and be ready for the dancing. Okay. All right. Let's proceed. And you answered it right. Yeah. Pick the next one, please. Pick the next one, please. Who is it? What is the shortcut of table format? Control T. Perfect. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Now you know what is a table, how to identify a table, how to create a table, and when you scroll up down, how the table behaves. Tables have the filters as the default feature. You can select, what are the records that you want to see there. Okay. So that's all about the tables. I would like to tell you one more thing about a table, may be useful. All of you just do this. Go to column, yeah, W1, cell W1, please. All of you just go to cell W1. And there will be a question from this also. Just please pay attention. I'm giving you a hint, okay? All right. Just type net salary there. Net salary. You observe something. After typing, just hit enter, and the table gets automatically extended. Yes, perfect. And I want to write a formula. Just please pay attention now. You can do it right after this. Just take a look at this. If I want to find out the total, I mean the next salary, I'll select T2 cell, right? But when I select T2 cell, it doesn't show it as T2, it shows basic salary. Okay? And plus U2 is HRA minus V2 is deductions. You see this file. This is very easy to read. Okay, the formula is in this way. Net salary is equal to basic salary plus HRA minus deductions. We prefer reading the formulas this way because if the formula is showing T2, U2, V2, again you need to look at the header. What is T2? What is U2? What is V2? But in our formula in the table, it's like very easy to read. This style is called structural reference style. The style that you see, structural reference style in a table. It's a structural reference style. On the normal ranges, we see relative reference styles wherein D2, E2, F2, something like that, and we drag it down. That is a relative reference style. Here, here it is structural reference style. Is it okay? Right. I will tell you one more advantage with the structural reference style. On the normal data, whenever you write any formula to drag it down, what is that you do? You use the fill handle and double click or drag it down, right? But in the structural reference style, you don't need to do that. You just hit enter. Your formula will be dragged till the end of the table. That is another advantage. Understood? All of you just give it a try. You got the output. How many of you got this output? Raise your hands. Excellent. Others, I'll give you more 15 seconds. Please get that. Create a net salary column and write a calculation equal to basic salary plus HRA minus deductions. You just hit enter, it will give you that output. Is that fine? Okay, let's move on to formulas. I got a specific, ask from I think someone who's coordinating it. They wanted these formulas. Looks like the companies are interested only in these formulas. But anyways, I'll also show you the other formulas as well. There are a few formulas that you need to know, right? Especially date time formulas, network days, work days formulas, and things like that. Okay, right. Up to this point, is everyone okay? If not okay, please raise your hand. If you have any doubt, any questions, I can explain it once again. No doubts? Sure. Who was the last person to answer? Pick the next one, please. Who is it? Okay, yeah. What kind of reference styles tables use when you write a formula? Instead of a relative reference, it uses a different reference style, and I said it is going to come as a question now. Structural reference style, right? Great. I've come up with one more idea now. If you are trying to help your friend, you and your friend will have to perform a group dance here going forward. Okay. I'll increase the conditions, terms and conditions more and more as and when I come across any situation. Okay. Fine then. So just be careful. Do not help your friend. Let your friend answer that because you cannot help your friend during the interview. Can you just go inside the HR room? Okay. My friend is having an interview and can you help that person now, right? Okay. Here we go. Great. Structural references they use. Right. Now let me ask you one more question, all of you. Excel formulas are they easy or are they complex? Is it easy or complex? Easy if you know, if you don't know, it is complex. Okay, fine then. There are a few formulas. Definitely, the syntax and all that looks really complex. I understand that, but there is a way if you go step by step in the syntax. It looks very easy to write any formula. Let us do one thing. Let us learn that skill first. How to read and understand the formula. Most of us, what we do is that we directly try to, write the formula just by hearting the syntax and all. But that's not the correct way. Let us spend some time understanding what is the formula, how to read the syntax, and today I'll also show you how you can make use of AI to get automatically, these formulas generated, and you just simply copy paste and it will work. But before that, let us spend some time, understand the formulas, how to write them, what is the syntax, what is an argument, what is an optional, and what is a mandatory argument, and how to write them. Okay, so let us do that way. I can show you a couple of examples of formulas. Okay, this is VLOOKUP, you write like this. This is XLOOKUP, you write like this. But the point is that your knowledge will be limited to only just writing the formulas. But I don't want it to be like this. Please, pay attention. Stay focused. Understand the formula syntax so that you can write any formula. There are about 500 Excel formulas. Okay. After this session, you will be able to write any formula in Excel. Excited or worried? Okay. Let us spend some time understanding the formula fundamentals. Tell me, what is a formula? What is a formula? Okay, any equation that makes a calculation easier? Yes, please. Yeah. Yeah, a predefined structure to get an output, to get an answer. Excellent. Yes, that's a formula. Nice. So let's do this. I would like to show you in this material package. We have provided functions library and formulas intro. A formula is a process to get an output. A formula is a process to get an output, and that process has three stages: input, calculate, output. Okay, out of these three stages, what is our responsibility? Any idea? Input. We just provide the input, that's it. Doing the calculation and returning the output is the responsibility of Excel to do that, right? We don't, do anything there. Okay, perfect. So input, calculate, output, and input is our responsibility. As input is our only responsibility there, let's talk about only input. Inputs can be given in three ways: manual input, reference input, and a formula input. Manual input, reference input, and a formula input. Okay. What is manual input? If you want to provide any input by typing it, okay, so I would like to show you this example in the sheet. If you can just open this 02 formulas version 1.05, which is there in your material package. There is one more Excel file, 02 formulas file. Almost 11:20 in 15 minutes, 15 minutes. Okay. All of you open this file? Yes. Let's go to that cell B11, please. B11. Cell B11 in the formulas intro sheet. There is a sheet formulas intro. Okay, so let me just minimize this window. There is a sheet formulas intro. Formulas intro. Go to cell B11. Yes, all of you there? Anyone still trying to find it? Okay, perfect then. So I would like to write a simple calculation here with the manual inputs. All of you just write the sum formula here. Sum. Okay, in B11 cell, write a sum formula. Okay, so do you know these things called? This number one, number two, and all. Do you know those names? What do we call them? Parameters. You can also call them arguments or placeholders to provide the inputs. Okay, parameters, arguments, placeholders to provide inputs. You can call them arguments. Okay, these are the arguments. Number one argument, number two argument, and so on. So I want to provide the input 10. Okay, tell me something this time. How did I get it there? How did I get the 10 there? By manually typing on the keyboard. Okay, if I want to go to the next argument, what is the character that I need to use? Comma. Now I'm into the number two argument. In the number two argument, I want to load 20. If I want to go to the next argument, what is the thing that I need to type? Comma, 30. So, how many arguments am I using in this formula? Three arguments. And how did I get those three numbers there? By manually entering them. Yes? So sum of 10, 20, 30. What is the result here? 60. Excellent. Manual input is clear, right? If you type anything on the keyboard is a manual input. Clear? Then how about the reference input? Do you know the Excel references, cell references? Yes. Let's take a sum of this particular range. This one. Okay. Now answer this carefully. How many arguments are we using here? How many arguments are we using here? How many of you think it is only one? Raise your hands, please. Just one. Okay, fine, thank you. How many of you think there are three arguments? Raise your hands, please. Okay, what made you think like there are three arguments being used? The range. Correct. My question is not about how many cells are we using. My question is about how many arguments are we using. How many arguments? Only one argument. And you know this very well, right? If you want to switch to the second argument, what is that you need to do? You need to hit a comma. And we haven't hit that yet, correct? We're still there in the first argument, and that first argument has three cells in it. But how many arguments are we using? One. Understand this. This is the advantage of using a reference. In one reference, multiple cells can go and sit inside one argument itself. Okay. So sum of this one is 60. So we use just only one argument there. So if you write sum once again, okay, tell me this. Which way of input is it? Manual input. Excellent. And you tell me this. Which way of input is this? Reference input. Excellent. And you tell me this. If I write a max formula on this range once again, what is the maximum range or maximum number in this range? 30. So that means in the first argument, what is the value that you have? Close max. What is the first argument value? 10. What is the second argument value? 20. What is the third argument value? 30. So sum of 10, 20, 30 is equal to again 60. So it is possible to write a formula inside a formula. You understand? So this concept is called nested formulas. Most of us we struggle writing nested formulas only. Writing individual formulas, it's all easy, but nesting of the formulas may be like little challenging. We'll see the different steps to nest the formulas also today. Right? Now you know the three ways that we can use to provide the input. Yes? Are we good? Okay, let's do a quick knowledge check before I proceed to the different types of the formulas. Who was the last person answered? Pick the next one, please. Go to the last rows, please. Pick someone from the last rows. Okay, how many ways we can provide the input? What are they? Formula. Okay, pick the next one, please. Anyone is okay? Yeah. How can you say something is a manual input? Let me type it. Let me type it. Okay, pick the next one, please. Okay. So if I use a formula, max, open bracket, A1 to A3, comma, A5 to A10. In this formula, how many arguments I use? Two arguments. Perfect. Pick the next one. You're the one? Okay. So take a look at this formula. What is the second argument value? Or what is the second argument here? What is the second argument? Probably you can see that here in this cell. Okay, what is the second argument in this formula? C. C10 is the second argument. Correct. Okay, so now you know what is an argument and how to switch from one argument to the other argument, right? Yes? Okay, so how do we switch from one argument to the other argument? Comma. Comma, okay. Perfect. So let us talk about the types of the formulas. Based on the number of arguments, there are three types of formulas. Many argument, few argument, no argument formulas. Right? Many argument, few argument, no argument. It's very easy to identify which one is many, which one is few, and which one is no. If I write a sum formula, I call this as a many argument formula. You know why? You look at those three dots at the end of the formula. Yes? Three dots there. Let me just bring up the magnifier. Okay. Do you see those three dots at the end of the formula? Three dots, ellipsis, right? This is a many argument formula. Why do we call it a many argument formula? Because you can load as many as you want. You can load so many numbers. You can load the numbers like this. You know, type the numbers, type the numbers. You see that? The list of the arguments, how they are increasing. You see that? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Yes. It is a many argument formula. How can we identify something is a many argument formula? Because it has got the ellipses at the end, three dots, right? Then what is a few argument formula? Very easy to identify. If I take a VLOOKUP kind of a formula, it's a few argument formula. How do you know? No three dots. That's as simple as that, right? Then how about this? If I take a match formula, is it a many argument, few argument? Few argument, okay. If I take a sum formula, is it a many or few? Many. If I take a sum f, many or few? Few. If I take sum x, many or few? Excellent. You know how to identify which one is a many argument, which one is a few argument. The next one is a no argument. If I take a today kind of a formula, it is a no argument formula. Why? Because do you see any placeholder inside today? No. Then what is the unique input? Nothing. It's just that open bracket and close bracket and you'll get the output. You got the point? So if you take now, is it a many argument, few argument, no argument? No argument. That's it. It's like very easy to identify which is a no argument formula, right? Are we good? How to identify which one is a many, which one is few, which one is no? Okay. So let's move on to the last one here in the formulas, the argument types. Do you know what is an argument in the formulas? It is there to provide the input. Yes or no? Inside the arguments only, right? We provided the inputs equal to, and we found that syntax and we loaded the arguments, right? Argument values. These arguments are two types: mandatory argument and optional argument. Let me take a left formula. It's like very easy to read it now. Questions remain same for all these formulas. What is the formula that I'm using? Formula name, please. Formula name, not the type of the formula. Left. Perfect. The formula name that I'm using is left. The next question comes. How many arguments are there? Okay. Which type of formula is this? Which type of formula is this? Few argument formula. Okay. How many arguments are there? Two arguments. And you look at this, the first argument and the second argument, there is a slight difference between them. The second argument is wrapped inside square brackets. but the first argument doesn't have the square brackets. You know what does it mean? If any argument is within the square brackets, it's an optional argument. What is an optional argument? It's up to us. If you want to use it, we can use it. Otherwise, we can skip it and it still works the same. Understood? Right? So mandatory argument, you don't see any square brackets. But if it is an optional one, you see the square brackets. Right? Fine. So if I want to execute this formula, how many minimum number of arguments I must need to load? One I must need to load. How many maximum I can load? Two I can load. Is it fine? Okay, excellent. Let's try this out. Other formulas also. Look up. Is it a many argument, few argument, no argument? Few argument. How many arguments are there? Four. How many mandatory? Three mandatory. How many optional? One optional. Minimum? Three. Maximum? Four. Excellent. Let's proceed to the next one. This time it is mid. Okay. Many, few, no. How many? Mandatory? Three. Optional? Zero. Minimum? Three. Maximum? Three. One last check. Many, few, no. How many? Mandatory, optional, minimum, maximum. Perfect. You learned it. Let's write this now. Equal to, I'm trying this left formula. You see this left formula, the first argument name. What is it asking for? Do you know what is text in Excel? We already did that in the 5 data types in our previous sheets, right? Do you know what is text? What is text? Anything that goes to the left hand side in the cell, any alpha or alphanumeric data is text, correct? So this text, how many ways I can input? We discussed input is only our responsibility and this input can be given in how many ways? 3 ways. What are they? Manual, reference and a formula. I've decided to go with a reference here. So tell me this cell, whatever I've selected, A23. A23, does it contain text? Yes or no? How do you know it is text? Left aligned and alpha or alphanumeric data you see there, correct? It is text. Excellent. Can I skip the second argument? In this formula, can I skip the second argument? Yes. Why? Because that's an optional one, right? So I can skip that. If I close this, enter, result A. You know why it has written A? The left hand side first character is A. But what if I use the number of characters, the second argument is there, the number of characters, num underscore chars, nothing but number of characters. How many characters do you want to get? Number, right? Let's say if I want to get 3 characters from the left hand side, number, is it 3? Is it a number? 3, is it a number? Yes, you know that, right? Okay, then what could be the output here? Any guess? Excellent. A, R, G. Right? Now let's make it much more interesting. I would like to use comma 5. Now what could be the output? Let's take a look at the input also. Okay, let me just we go to okay. So let's try this with 5. Okay. Now what could be the output from here? What could be the output? Why? Error? Exactly. You know about this formula very well. Left is a formula which has only few arguments. There are only 2 arguments, and you only told me the maximum that we can enter into the formula. How many? 2. But how many I loaded there? Now the error. What is it saying? Exactly. You have entered too many arguments for this formula. Now we get the point. Writing Excel formula is easy as long as you stick to these rules. Every argument name clearly shows which type of data is needed. It asks for text, it asks for numbers, it asks for arrays, it asks for lookup values, right? I would like to show you this table. With that, you will get some clarity. We already discussed the data types, yes or no? Right? In formulas also we have the data types. I would like you to write something there, maybe equal to mid. Just all of you just write it up, equal to mid. Now you know how to read the formula. Is it a many argument, few argument, no argument? Few argument. How many arguments are there? Three arguments are there. How many mandatory? Three are mandatory. Optional? Zero optional. What is the first argument? Name, text. Name of the argument represents the data type. So that means in the first argument, what type of data you need to load? Text you need to load. Comma. Second argument is asking for start num. Num stands for number. You need to load a number. What is the last argument asking for? Num caps. Num again stands for number of characters you want to get. You got the point, right? Let's open large formula equal to large. Many argument, few argument, no argument. Few argument. How many? Two. Mandatory. Two. Optional. Zero. Minimum. Two. Maximum. Two. What is the first argument asking for? Array. In Excel, array means it's a range. That means you need to load a range. Comma. What is the second argument asking for? K. K is a constant number. You need to load a number. So if you look at this, each and every data type is mentioned here, and what is that you need to load. With some practice, you can easily understand. Okay, if something is asking for an array, what is that you need to load? You need to load a reference. If something is asking for a K, what is that you need to load? Number. If something is asked for index, what is that you need to load? Numbers. Index is also a number. If something is asking for value or criteria, what is that you need to load? All of them. You can load numbers there, you can load text there, you can load time there, you can load anything that you want. You got the point? Right? Cancel that formula. I would like to ask you one more question here. Right? VLOOKUP formula. Equal to VLOOKUP. Many argument, few argument, no argument. Few argument. Okay. How many? Four. Mandatory. Three. Optional. One. Minimum. Three. Maximum. Four. What is the first argument data type? Value. Value means all of them. That means you can look up for a number, you can look up for a text, you can look up for a date, you can look up for anything there. Look up value. It doesn't say look up number. You know why? Because if VLOOKUP says look up number, that means VLOOKUP only works with numbers. But it says look up value. Value means anything. You can look up for anything. Sometimes you may want to look up for employee name. Sometimes it may be with employee number. Sometimes it may be with the date. You get the point? So any place if you see the word value, what does it mean? You can load anything that you want. Comma. What is the second argument? Array. Array means range. We just discussed. Array means it's a range. What is the third argument? Column index num. Num stands for number. The last argument is range lookup. We'll see how to use it. But you're getting it right. Every formula, there are close to 500 formulas in Excel. You open any random formula, you can write. All of you are from engineering background, right? No? Let's write engineering formulas now. Right? After this, we'll take a break after this example. There is a formula, if I remember the name right. Let me just close this. Anyways, you are also practicing along, so there is a formula called Bessel I. Okay, I don't even know what is it because I'm also not from engineering background, but let me try that. I don't. Anyone knows this for engineering? No, Bessel I something. That's okay, no problem. Okay. So is it a many argument, few argument, no argument? Few. Okay. How many? Two. Mandatory. Two. Optional. Zero. Okay. Minimum. Two. Maximum. Two. Perfect. What is the data type the first argument is asking for? X is what? X is, as per this table, if you observe, if any formula is asking for X, what is that you need to load? Number. All of you just load a number. I'm just randomly writing 10 there. What is the second argument? N is what? Number. Okay, I'll randomly write 20 there. Okay. And I'm able to execute that formula. But I don't know what is the result. I don't know that because I'm not from the engineering background. Okay. All of you know standard deviation? Yes? Okay, the formula in Excel is STDEV, right? And let's take a look at it. STDEV. Take this formula, please. STDEV. Okay, STDEV. And do you know this formula type? Is it a many argument, few argument, no argument? Many, right? Perfect. So what is it asking for? Numbers. Everything is number only. That means standard deviation can be done with what? Names or numbers? Numbers, right? So I can load all these numbers. I have a range here. Student scores. What is the standard deviation of this range? Is this much? It's as simple as this. If you want to do the same thing, same standard deviation on the paper, how much time would it need? Would you need to complete this? 5 minutes? Oh, without the calculator, you can do it in 5 minutes then. Sure. Find out the standard deviation of, I'll give you the inputs. Without using the calculator or Excel, I want you to do it on the paper and get me the answer in 5 minutes. Not possible, right? Because you need to take all the numbers, find out the average, pick up each and every number and subtract, and you get the positives and negatives. You need to square them to get all the positives, and there is a process. To do that, it will take, without the calculator, no surprise if it takes about 15 minutes on the paper with a pen, right? But in Excel, it's not even 5 seconds short. Equal to STDEV, select the range and it will give it out. You understand? Excel formulas are there to help us. They are not actually complex. They make our complex stuff easy. Understand this. But where we struggle is that without reading the syntax, we try to input. But as we just learned how to read the syntax and provide the inputs, I think these things should look a bit easier now. Yes or no? If you open any formula, can you figure out which one is a many argument, few argument, no argument? How many arguments are there? What is mandatory? What is optional? And what type of data to be loaded? Are we good? Yes? Okay. We'll take a break, but before that, we'll do a quick knowledge check and then we'll take a break. Right? Just 2 minutes. Who was the last person answer? Janvi. Yeah, you can pick the next one, please. Anyone. You can pick the next one. Okay. Look at the second argument in the match formula. What type of data is it asking for? What is the thing it is asking for? Zoom. Look at the second argument and what kind of data type it is asking for. Exactly, it is asking for a range or a reference because it's an array. Pick the next one, please. He's just thinking, should I sit next to you after this break or not? Okay. Tell me the last argument, is it mandatory or optional? How do you know? Square brackets, perfect. Pick the next one. What type of data the first argument is asking for? Any of the things like be it a number, text, date, time, anything you can load. Excellent. Pick the next one, please. Was it? Okay, perfect. What is the last argument asking for? Range. Perfect, because the name itself is some range like it. And is it a mandatory one or optional one? Optional one. Okay, pick the next one, please. What is the second argument asking for? Okay, that is what we all see, but what is it? Criteria means All of the above, perfect. Which is nothing but it could be the criteria could be a text, a number, date, time, logical. It could be anything. Pick the next one, please. The last luckiest one. Okay. Which type of formula is it? Is it a many argument, few argument? Few argument. Okay. How about this? How do you know? Ellipsis, right? At the end. Perfect. So that means we can load as many as you want. Okay. Are we good? Okay. See, I'll tell you one thing. I think a few of the topics I'm running a bit faster because I don't want to spend much time on these basic stuff because there are a few formulas we'll be using all these things there. And if you still have any doubts, you can question, all those questions there. But are we okay with this pace and all? Are we able to follow? Okay, how many of you are peacefully sleeping here? Anyone? No? Nobody is sleeping? Next time, if I see any sleepy face, I'll only pick you up, okay? And you know the punishment, right? I hope all of you have good answers. All right, so let's take a break for 15, 20 minutes break. Okay, take a break. Once we are back, we'll see how to write these formulas. There are so many business use cases. I'll write the formulas there. Okay, perfect. Take a break, please. Thank you. Guys, please sit for 5 minutes. We'll just take the attendance and then we can move to the three.